Yesterday's episode was acted out in the House Transportation Committee, which overwhelmingly approved a bill that takes a roundabout swipe at the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. Under it, the speed limit on the state's freeways would remain 55. But drivers who exceeded by no more than 10 miles an hour could only be cited for wasting fuel and would only have to pay a $2 fine. Today's episode was acted out in the Senate Transportation Committee, which overwhelmingly approved a bill to keep the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit and the penalties for breaking it. The Senate bill would extend 55 through the next 2 years to prevent Arizona from losing federal highway funds. Even some of those who voted for the Senate bill said too many people were ignoring the speed limit, including state employees.
If we're going to abide by this law, which I think we're going to have to, then I think the first thing you ought to do is start controlling our own people. And I'll guarantee you that in my travels back and forth to Safford, there's not a week goes by that I'm not passed by some state car really flying down the road.
So at the moment, the Senate is saying yes to 55, the House is saying no, and stuck in the middle is the State Department of Transportation, wondering if it will keep or lose federal highway funds. Stay tuned for the next exciting episode. At the state capitol, John Kane, Cool News 10.
Phoenix is booming, and the winter of '82, which has lashed most of the nation's Midwest and Northeast with frigid temperatures, will probably add momentum to the development of residential communities in the valley, development which already is straining at its boundaries and seemingly ready to spill out onto the desert floor. There is concern being expressed, however, about what the prospect of increased development will mean to the environment.
I feel that development, as we now are faced with it, is causing havoc in the area. I think that development per se is not bad. It's simply that the way development is encroaching upon a very fragile and beautiful and beloved desert is too much to sustain. I would like to see a compromise, a happy balance between the needs of development and those of the environment that many of us love and cherish.
Jeffrey Platts, a carefree resident, has been conducting a campaign against what he has termed the greening of Arizona, the destruction of the self-sustaining arid desert landscape and the substitution in its place of water-greedy, man-dependent lush greenery. In addition to being incompatible with the surrounding environment, the development of green zones, says Platts, is having an impact on the water situation in the valley.
It seems to me that in the valley we have an illusion of water abundance. We are surrounded by developments that speak of water and a plenitude of it, such as the lakes, fountain hills, the shores, and so on. The water is running out.
Platts was instrumental in the enactment of a Scottsdale city ordinance effective last September protecting native trees and plants. Now, a bill being drafted for inclusion in the current state legislative session would closely parallel the Scottsdale ordinance, but would extend native plant protection statewide.
It would hopefully improve the current state law that covers the native plants of Arizona, not just the desert plants. Hopefully they'll look closely at the Scottsdale ordinance and implement some of the ideas in that in the state law.
Considering the importance of development to the valley, the bill is expected to gain a lot of attention from environmentalists and developers alike. The issue then becomes not so much whether development should continue here in the desert, but rather how it can be done in such a way that it's in harmony with the environment. Bruce Arian, Cool News 10.
In 10 days, the trains will stop bringing ore from the mine to be crushed in Morenci.
Don't look good at it for anybody right now. Live off the old lady, let her work. Well, collect unemployment first, I imagine, and start looking for a job.
We found out through our supervisor. We think it's terrible, to be very honest with you.
Phelps Dodge will lay off 3,800 workers in its western operation, more than half of them from here.
The general manager here declined to be interviewed, but a statement from Phelps Dodge President George Monroe said that the current recession had driven copper prices down to their lowest level in 30 years. Quoting now, "The shutdown will allow us to conserve oil and supplies until economic conditions make it feasible for us to resume production," unquote. Is there anybody to blame for all this?
Yeah, Ronald Reagan.
Why?
Well, I just think that his economic program is what's caused all the problems that we're now having in this nation, including the copper industry.
Phelps Dodge blames bad economic times, saying it has for several months been selling copper at less than it costs to produce. That is bad for the company and worse for a company town, and that is what this town is. Its prosperity fluctuates alongside the price of Phelps Dodge copper. Morenci is all Phelps Dodge, from the homes where the workers pay rent to the land where those houses sit. A company town complete with a company store where housewives today told us they were worried.
I think it's terrible, especially for a lot of families that have a lot of kids. Well, it's pretty rough. We're from Bisbee originally. We're going to go back down there and try to, we have some family there to stay with, so we'll try to find work down there.
On April 17th, weeks of rumors come true. Mining operations will stop for at least 6 weeks here at one of the world's biggest open pit mines. Hard times are here again in Morenci.
Put everything in God's hands and take it one day at a time.
I'm glad there's Excedrin to get rid of my headache.
To patch things up with.
Not a radio, but a TV. Not an ordinary TV, but one on which you can communicate with your bank. Shop at home, bank at home, with a personal computer doing the communicating for you. It's the wave of the future, says futurist Henry Keene of the Security Pacific Bank of California.
The most important and the most pervasive change is the fact that money has never been anything more than information. But today, because we're regarding it more and more as information, and information is transmitted electronically, why do we have to have a physical representation of it in your hand to go to my hand?
Keene says that by the year 2000, you'll be able to pay your bills at home just by touching a few buttons. Soon, people will be transferring funds, getting stock, bond, and gold quotes, and mailing letters electronically. But it'll be a while before those innovations achieve the kind of widespread acceptance that one change in the world of money already has. The automated teller, which is showing up at more and more banks. But even with these banking machines today, there's a new twist. At this bank, as with so many in Arizona, there's an automated teller outside. But this branch is different because there's also an automated teller inside, right down at the end of the aisle where a teller's window might otherwise have been. It's part of a pilot program at First Interstate that allows tellers to work on customers' more serious problems, while people who just want to check their balance or need some quick cash can go to the machine and avoid the lines. But wait a minute, are these machines going to take the place of the friendly teller behind the window?
Oh, I hope so. I don't see the relevancy of having a human teller for you to go up to a bank and say, I want to make a deposit or I want to make a withdrawal, and talk to a human that then turns to technology to give you your answer or give you your cash. Why not let you do it?
I think that there will always be the need for a human being to help another human being. And I think that you'll see efforts to improve the service rather than eliminating the human being behind it.
Well, at least the tellers we talked to are convinced they'll still be around for a while.
It doesn't really bother me. I think it's kind of exciting.
The tellers will always be here. I don't think that the teller machines are going to take over our jobs. It's just going to help us out quite a bit.
No doubt changes are coming as we enter the computerized age. Only time will tell if that friendly face at the teller's window will be there in the year 2000. Ron Hoon, Cool News 10.
This is the attic above the main music hall at ASU's College of Music building. What you're looking at is asbestos, a fire retardant material that covers this entire room. Though it poses no health hazard at the moment, it could. That's why the asbestos is now being covered with this special black sealant.
The problem is material that has small particles that float out into the air, microscopic type things that you can breathe in. As long as it's a solid thing, and that's what we're doing here. We're developing a situation that will encapsulate this material and make it more dense. So if it falls off in chunks rather than coming off in small particles that float around in the air.
On this particular product, it will encapsulate it. It will also put a protective coating on the outside that will help prevent it from breaking loose. When it does break loose, by somebody working on it or something on that nature, the fibers will not be released into the air.
Nearly 20% of all the buildings on the ASU campus have asbestos fireproofing. Eventually, they and hundreds of thousands of other buildings across the country will have to be coated under orders of the federal government. The price tag is enormous.
This particular building was about $28,000 contract, and we have, I suppose most of the medium-sized buildings would probably run in the same area.
So it could be
A good
hundreds
sum
of
money.
thousands.
Yes, it could. Sure could.
It will take about 2 weeks to complete this project. Half the time will be spent just covering up what's not to be sprayed. After that, ASU officials will take a look at the budget and decide what building is next. Kerry Kilbride, TV 10 News.
The sounds of summer camp at the swimming pool, at the craft hut, in the woods. Typical activity now that school is out for the year, and camps like this one have become the classrooms of a different kind.
Here in Prescott at Camp Swift, it's not just summer camp as usual. In fact, it's rather unique. For you see, it's the counselors, not the campers, that are paying to come here, because it's a camp for underprivileged youth. And if the counselors didn't pay, the campers couldn't take part.
It's a one-week experience for underprivileged kids to come up to camp that otherwise wouldn't have been able to go to camp. Our theme is to give them all the love that they can take and all the food that they can eat. The purpose is really to do something good in the world.
Almost 200 8 through 11-year-olds, many learning camping skills for the first time. The counselors, almost 100 of them, are members of the Southwest Federation of Temple Youth, Jewish youth groups from Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, and Nevada. There are 2 5-day sessions, but that's not enough for the waiting list of 1,000 children that the Maricopa County Human Resources Department says are eligible for the program. For the campers, a fun time.
It's been fun. I met 3 new friends here. A lot of stuff around here, and it's not boring. You can go hiking and meet friends around here and stuff, and it's really neat instead of staying home and watching TV.
And for the counselors who have paid $60 to volunteer their time, a time to grow.
Giving $60 isn't going to make me live in a less lifestyle, and actually giving something, it makes me feel like I'm helping, and you know, in that way it's almost selfish for me to do it, but it's a good feeling still.
It's so gratifying to see that these kids are having such a good time and that you're a part of it.
And you know that they probably would not have.
Right. Yeah. And the smiles on their faces is incredible.